All right, and we are live. Welcome back to another episode of Real Chill Conversations. We have some special guests in the building. The guys from the Fourth.
Hey.
I don't know, Chris, Callum, Mike.
Look, see, hold on. Okay, see, I gotta take the A mic from you right now. I have to do it. Excuse me. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. One time for the one time on a Sunday night. It's Four Kings Podcast ENT with real chill conversations. We got the lovely, beautiful black bombshell known as Brenna B. We got the drop dead Dominican firecracker known as the dominating Dominique. We got the dead hat daddy, the Diablo de Mexico, the dab daddy, salt and pepper poppy, aka Cagney McSlur.
Hey.
Wait, you
What
gave him a new nickname?
KG. I did. I just yeah, I did. Hey, you
Did you
listeners
say
know you know.
Diablo de Mexico?
That's it.
Mhm.
And I know what I said. uh we got KG, the big KG.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
KG.
Killing Gill in the building.
I know,
And
right?
we got A-Leaf Rays, Mo City's finest, Four Kings podcast, Your Highness, C-Mac, aka Mikey Mike, in everybody's mouth like Mike and Ike's.
Here we go.
Let's get it going.
That's-
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us again on the podcast. We always have a good time with us, and I did want to have you guys on to get some male perspective and some male insight regarding the topic that we're talking about. And what we're going to discuss is why are so many Black and Brown women dying during childbirth, and why are they not being attended to like our white there are statistics and there are studies that Black women are more likely to die during childbirth than any other race and any other color. And so when it comes to losing a child during childbirth, when you have a loss of a baby, a lot of people focus on the woman and they focus on how she's feeling and what she's got going on and her needs, but they don't necessarily talk about what goes on with the father of that child and how do you attend to his needs. So it's two of you together that create this life. One of the partners is the one that has to go through the labor, the delivery, and the loss of the child from her body, from her womb. But there's also situations in which women decide not to continue on with their pregnancy. They might terminate their pregnancy for whatever reason. They were in a relationship with somebody that was married, so they didn't want to get that involved, or maybe
Damn.
they didn't want kids and they're just not ready for. But we never talk about how that impacts the man. Now, if you were in a situation, your significant other or the person that you were sleeping with, if not your significant other, happened to wind up pregnant and made the decision to terminate the pregnancy without consulting first and told you after the fact that she had an abortion, how does that impact the man? How does that make you feel knowing that there was a life that you created that is no longer because of that? What do you guys think about that?
So you said a whole lot. It was little tidbits that we laughed at a little bit real quick. It's like certain scenarios you don't even think about when you're even like with the development of this topic, right? Because in my first thought process behind this was like, we realized that there's a complete polarity and disproportionality in the fact that um, you know ethnic women, minority women, and damn, say bro, shout out to shout out to Ben Folk in the
Shout out to Ben
comments.
Folk in the comments, man. He wilding out. That's why I'm laughing because he's out here. He is cutting up in the comments on our because we broadcasting the y'all stream to our page too at the same time. So some of our viewers are tuning in. And he's wilding out.
What he saying?
He said so. You can see. You should be able to see it. But basically, we know of the disproportionality and the perception of what the statistics are, that the minorities and ethnic women, well, the Black women, don't receive the same advocacy in healthcare when going through labor, or even to the point of inception to labor, right? You have so many different factors that play into that. You know, one of the things is, if they didn't even want a baby, they may not have taken the proper prenatal health care and gone to those visits and did the things that they needed to do. You have the fact that so many different things aren't accessible to the Black community, just due to the fact of what do you say? Black people don't receive proper health care across the world.
That
This
is
is true.
so true. That is
Yeah.
so true. I really think like we're missing out
Uh,
on the
oh,
cons.
sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. I'm just backing up to the long-winded. I'm sorry. I had
Huh?
She just caught the comment about the long-winded. Look, don't be mean, don't be mean, Mel. Don't be mean.
He's being facetious. He didn't he's not really calling you long. That's my mama's sister's son. Like
And him and KG got a podcast called My Mama Sister Son.
Yeah, that's literally my aunt's youngest son.
Yeah. See, he even laughing now.
Yeah.
See,
I
so
don't think that Black women get the proper care.
I
Like,
think it's
even
the
way
advocacy too,
before-
though.
Even way before even getting pregnant.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. They don't take their pain seriously. They think that they can tolerate more things. They're less likely to prescribe them the right medications.
Yeah.
While their other counterparts get the right medication prescribed.
Yeah.
I remember a friend of mine. She went to the doctor, and they gave her like 800 milligram ibuprofen. And then her exact friend went to the doctor, and they gave her like real pain meds. So
right.
They won't even give you the right pain meds being a Black person.
But then also part of that, though, is the misconception, right? And the stereotypes that go with that. They don't want to give Black people hard drugs because some of them are we're more susceptible to doing this, or this is something that we do in our community. So we're going to give you the lower dosage and then see how that works before we upgrade you to the actual painkiller that's their real go-to.
Or sometimes they think that we're lying, or sometimes they think we're exaggerating.
Yeah.
You know, those things. Yeah.
And it backfired on them too. That's why when the opioid crisis happened, it wasn't us.
Hello.
Exactly.
That's what
Ring
I'm talking
that
about.
bell.
But if you really want to look at it, though, I will say within the last 2 years, there have been some trends and some things that have changed to make it better and more acceptable for us. But we still have a long way to go. Like what they found is that I don't know a lot of people who are familiar with midwives or doulas. They found that when Black women use midwives or doulas, they're actually more successful in having the babies, and there's less C-sections in those instances.
And I can see that because you need a one-on-one person that's supportive of you, especially during that time of pregnancy.
Your advocate and
advocacy, yes.
Advocates for the mother. A lot of times you go to the doctor, you do your walk through the hospital, and they ask you what's your birth plan, and they say, oh, we'll try to stick to your birth plan as much as we can possible. We'll have you labor for as long as you can possible. If you say that you don't want pain medication but change your mind, then they will give you the pain medication. But a lot of times that doesn't happen.
Correct.
If you have a doula, that is your person, aside from your partner, that will advocate for you to the healthcare professionals, and also to you if you decide to labor at home for as long as possible before making that ride over to the hospital. I think a lot of Black and brown people, we just have such negative experiences when it comes to doctors and going to the hospital and getting dismissed and having them tell us, oh, it's not that bad. I think there was a situation here in Atlanta where Emory nurses were filmed mocking patients.
Yes. And I saw that.
Hurt. Yes, it does really hurt. It does really hurt. It is really uncomfortable. I'm not just trying to sit here IV full of drugs. I'm in pain. If you want to push this baby out, I'm gonna need some relief.
And the other thing about that is,
It doesn't hurt.
Oh, don't start that shit. Don't do that. Look, the other part about that is, and as far as the advocacy is, right? A lot of these nurses, these doctors, the staff, they have no bedside manner. And so they will not be as empathetic or sympathetic as they should be when trying to deal with a patient. It's really daunting to sit up here and the interaction that you like our prime example, right? My wife had an accident like 2 weeks ago, and we were in the ER all night long. And yeah, I could tell that they were trying to get it done, but at the same time, it's like they had moments where ain't shit we can do about it, so we're gonna go ahead and do it. We hearing hospital gossip, we hearing all this. Like that ain't what we just trying to get these X-rays, CAT scans, and we trying to go.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of distrust of when it comes to doctors. I had a really negative experience when it comes to doctors. I had a doctor that dismissed me. I kept saying I was having a lot of pain. Blamed it all on my cycle, and he told me, go.
Wow.
So he told me to go to my gynecologist. I went to my gynecologist. She said, "You're going to turn right back around and you're going to go to that hospital, and I'm going to call and I'm going to have you admitted underneath my service." And when I went back to the hospital and I saw a different doctor who did proceed to do a CT scan, it found that my appendix was rupturing. So I wasn't making it all up. It wasn't all just in my, it wasn't all just menstrual pain. It wasn't just period cramps. My appendix was ruptured. I had to wind up having surgery. And I feel like all of that could have been avoided, and I could have avoided a longer hospital stay. I wind up going back to the hospital because I got a severe infection from that. But if the doctor had listened to what I was saying, then I wouldn't have had to go through all the things that I went through. So that's why I can see why there's a lot of distrust, in our community when it comes to doctors, because they don't want to listen to us.
And that is so sad because I had a situation years ago where I was pregnant and I was feeling little pinches, but they start getting like stronger and stronger and stronger. And I actually went to UAB Hospital in Alabama, and I went that morning because I said they're getting kind of bad, so let me go. I was like 5 months pregnant. I sat in the waiting room from that morning all the way till 7 o'clock at night. When I went in the bathroom in the waiting room, I had to use the bathroom. I felt like a big ball in my vagina.
Yeah.
Wow.
I stood there. I ran to the nurses. I told them and everything. That's when they finally heard me after cries all day of me saying, I need to be seen right away. And I thought pregnant women was a priority.
Yeah.
And when I went back there, I had to have my baby. And he told me that my baby was not going to live. He was alive inside of me. But when he would come out, he would be deceased.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
And that's tough.
That's tough.
I'm sitting in a hospital emergency room. Sometimes I have you sitting there for 12, 14. I've literally spent 24 hours in an emergency room curled up in a ball waiting to be seen because, we have more important, patients. And I had people that got called right back, and then they even left and were discharged while I was.
Yeah.
So, it's like the mentality has changed. Part of the issue that I had going back to the situation with Emory, it wasn't just white Emory doctors and nurses, it was Black Emory doctors.
Yep.
One of the patients saying, "Oh, I'm in labor. Oh, I'm having pain." That, I mean, they were making TikToks.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's what I see nowadays. It's just, I be on TikTok, so I tell you, I see it.
Right.
Yeah. They do get a little little squirrely on there with just doing TikToks in the hospital. And oh, it helps the day go by. But I want to address what Melvin was saying in the comments, right? He was saying one of the reasons why it's a lot is the disconnect and so much distrust between us and medical professionals is because of history, right? And history has shown with the Tuskegee experiment that just because they say it's good for you, it isn't always good for you. Another thing that he said was pregnant white women are a priority. And then I also kind of feel like, yeah, blonde hair, blue eyes, you do get a little bit more, attention, unfortunately. I mean, and it's not an opinion. It's based off of what we've all experienced. I mean, think about it. The running joke is if you've
It's
called the
based on
police,
research too.
no, and because it's more than doubled. Like when you look at the infant mortality rate between blacks, Hispanics, Asians,
That's statistics, yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
black women have a higher rate, double the times of the white female counterparts. And then if you break down even further, as far as like the infants, like if the baby's gonna live or die, we have a higher death rate too, because again, the things that we were talking about earlier, as far as not seeking prenatal care, lack of proper medical care just because it's not affordable to you, lack
And they
of
do treat people that have Medicaid way different from people that have their own insurance. And then let's
that's
not
true.
sit here
That's
and
true.
say they don't.
That's true.
That's true.
Because we got a hospital here in Houston that everybody goes to. It's the quote unquote number one trauma center, and everyone goes there for anything emergency related. Bentop, but then it's also known as the hospital where a lot of people end up dying.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's probably because it's the worst place you went. Like when I went to Bentop, I had a wall going 60. I hit the Royal Oaks Bridge, and I was in the passenger seat, so I had to come out the car the jaws of life. But I was in there, and I was kind of like I had some torn ligaments, and I was bruised up. But the lady next to me had a stab wound, and the dude next to me was like had 3 bullet holes. So it's like, yeah, I wasn't getting no attention.
But that's exactly what we said.
But that's just, yeah.
It was like, well, until we know he gonna make it or not, we
Yeah.
gonna deal with who we know is gonna got a higher percentage, and that's what it's come down to. The percentages is like, well, it's not looking good for him, but we know we can patch up the guy with the bullet holes and the person that got stabbed, and they got a higher risk. I mean, a higher chance of actually making it.
I'll say this, right? So I'll jump into a couple of things y'all said. So the first thing I'll jump in was the latest thing y'all said. So when you talk about the disproportionate rate of the mortality of mothers versus like other counterparts, you got to look at it like, and this is like, this could be like a conspiracy theory type thing. It's not something I necessarily believe, but I'm looking at a correlation. The people who have the highest birth rate here is us. So if there are powers that be that want to keep everything in status quo and don't want the dynamics of the country to switch, then the people with the highest growing birth rates, they're probably going to make sure that their babies aren't born, or the women that create their babies can't make more babies, because it's the contrast otherwise. Because if you look at the people who have the lowest birth rates, they have the lowest mortality and everything. So it's like, but the people who have the most babies, who living, have the highest death rates. So it's just like, how does that make sense?
No, good point.
Just take
That's
the
fine.
because
What's the other point?
Oh, the other thing I was going to actually talk about, your first thing I was going to get into, like, being, because I've been through all 3 aspects, right? I've been a father who's planned a child with a woman, and we went all the way through, and I had to like make sure that she was good. I've been a father who's been with a woman and she's lost the baby. We had to figure that out. And I've also been a man who's been with a woman who's decided to abort the baby without my consent. So I have experience on all those things. So I was gonna give anecdotal, story about that.
against all of that. Other thing that I was going to add on to that is not our Black and brown women dying for childbirth, but Black and brown women also have the highest rate of having preterm babies. So having a preemie, just proven. I mean, all 3 were born premature.
Berna, you're breaking up.
Hear me now?
We can hear you, but
Hear me?
yeah.
I was going to say all three of my kids were born premature, but I sought medical care like as soon as I was pregnant. As soon as I was pregnant and got that notification from the stick to went to the doctor's office, I started my prenatal vitamins. I started, seeing that just my body is built, and because of my size, I just couldn't carry my babies to term. Now, one of them had to wind up in the NICU, but when he was in the NICU, he didn't need oxygen. He didn't need a feeding tube. He just had trouble regulating temperature because he was small. He was
You're
only
still breaking up.
around 4 ounces.
Y'all don't hear her breaking up?
I'm gonna be honest. We do, but we're kind of used to it.
Uh-huh.
That goes to the thing me and Brennan were talking about yesterday. But
Because I tried muting myself, but you're still breaking up.
Okay.
nah, we're
Yeah, it's probably something with the connection, but
it's the connection.
I'm penciling what she's saying together because I'm catching the first parts, and I'm really good at reading lips also, so I'm keeping up.
But nah, we were following along about the NICU. We were following along with the first child. So
And that's I didn't know all three of your children, were born prematurely because you couldn't, and that's something that people don't talk about because it's like you as a woman, you're capable of creating a child, but your body, because of the way it's structured, you can't take it full term. So then you have to have a different kind of medical like attention, and there should be like a special like procedure for that. And it probably was okay, I guess we got to figure this out now, but there should be something in place for that. Like it should be like, okay, we should have caught that early.
But I also feel like this though. So it's not necessarily that you're the way your body structure, you can't carry a baby full term. Sometimes life situations and stress can make women not carry the baby to a full term, or even cause a baby to for the miscarry. Like think about how many instances. Kobe Bryant wife, they had a child. It was a boy, and that was the boy that that was a child she miscarried around the time that Kobe got caught up with the infidelity and everything.
I didn't know that.
I feel like women need a lot of love when they are pregnant.
And patience.
And patience. And I feel like, midwives would be a good thing if they don't have a supportive person in their circle.
I agree.
I feel like we need to be a little bit more careful when we actually get into that. I know mistakes happen and things happen, but whenever we create life, I think we need to be in the best environment for that life to thrive. And a lot of times in our community, we don't do that. So I think that has to do with the numbers too. Whether it be like you could be financially thriving, but like, is it an emotional, like, a good spiritual place to thrive? And all those things kind of go in hand in hand, especially when creating a life.
And some women have to do a lot,
Yeah.
Work, everything. Yeah. So even, a lot of women, for me, for example, I worked until I just couldn't work no more with all 5 of my pregnancies.
My co-parent did not work at all. She once she was pregnant, she didn't smell a paycheck. Besides, what I was bringing in, so that did not happen.
Well, yeah, sometimes I would get like a home job or something a little easier. I
did not want her working. I'll say this: whenever she did do anything like work-wise, she would come up to the grow with me and help me defoliate my plants. That's the most work she did while she was pregnant.
Well, my wife worked through both pregnancies. She wasn't bedridden or anything, but I will say, I think the second one was harder on her than the first one was. The first one was harder on me, right? It was.
How would explain that?
Oh no, that's hard. No. Don't get it twisted. It's hard.
I didn't say it wasn't. I said explain that.
So so basically, right, the first pregnancy was hard for me because it was. They're not lying. Women's emotions it's the same person you've been dealing with the whole time y'all been together, but it's their emotional roller coaster, balled all up on steroids and everything times 10. It's literally like it's you have to like, to be honest, and this is what happens really. This is honest to God truth. Most people don't, their relationship, having a baby and staying with that person is a make or break situation,
A lot
because
of pregnancies test you to
bingo,
that.
it's the litmus test. If you can make it through the pregnancy, it's like you damn near can do anything, because you know at the end of the pregnancy, baby's born, and you all look at each other and, oh, and it's just having that moment. But that second pregnancy, my wife was like, she threw up more. It was rough. And then the emotional roller coaster, like eating a bowl of cereal and you watching a commercial and you cry. It's like, oh, yeah, this ain't cartoons. Just cry. Oh no, baby. So I was glad to get through the second one. I tell my wife now, there can't be a third one. We can't do a third one. We ain't gonna make it, baby. I'm telling you, we ain't built for that. We built, but we ain't built for that.
How was it hard on you?
Okay, so I early in the pregnancy, earlier in the pregnancy, I remember she got an attitude with me and was like ready to, like, we ended up breaking up later on, but early in the pregnancy, she got an attitude with me about something I can't remember, and she was like, forget it, I'm just gonna leave then. I was like, you just gonna leave my baby in your stomach? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you even mean? And I was like, why are you even mad? She's like, I don't know. And she started crying. And I was just like, this is a lot for that, right? But I think the hardest part of the pregnancy for me wasn't the actual pregnancy. It was the 2 years after, the postpartum part.
That part, that does play a role too. Postpartum,
Yeah,
right?
That was the hardest part for me.
That's why I say that. Yeah.
Brenda, God getting all we deserve says, can we get Brenda to talk about her mental going through three premature kids?
So the first pregnancy was going along just fine. Everything was fine. I had just had a doctor's appointment the week before, and I think I was at 34 weeks. I want to say, I think I was 34 weeks along, and I think pregnancy is either 39 or 40 weeks. Son's 39. He had left to work. And so I'd gotten in the shower, and I got out of the shower, and my dog just kept following me around, and I didn't know why the dog was following me around, and he kept licking the floor as I was walking, and then I was like, wait, did I pee on myself? Because liquid coming out. And so what happened is that my water broke.
Right.
Broke at 34 weeks. So I called my friend, I called my son's father. He turned around and came back. We went to the hospital. The hospital was like, are you sure? Do you want us to call your parents? Because I look really, really young, you know. They're like, do you want us to call your parents? And I was like, no, I'm an adult. This is my health insurance and whatever. They did their test and they confirmed that it was amniotic fluid. And so what they did was they tried to replace the fluid and keep me in the hospital to try to prolong the growth. But then when they saw that wasn't working, then they started injecting me with steroids to help develop the baby's lungs. So when he was born, he'd be able to breathe on his own. So at the end of that day, that was like at about 8:30 in the morning, and I had my son at 4:34 in the afternoon.
Nice.
Lungs had developed. He was fine. He did not need to go to the NICU. He just was small. He was 6 pounds. He was 6 pounds 2 ounces. So that case. My next one, he wasn't due until March, the end of March. And on Valentine's Day, my son's father and I had gone out to dinner, and he took me to this like restaurant with like 6 courses. And I had to keep getting up and going to the bathroom because I thought that I was leaking and I didn't know what was going on. And then I remembered what happened to me previously. And I was like, babe, we need to go. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I think my water broke. So as soon as we got in the house and stepped in the door, gush, water everywhere. So we got to the emergency room. They were like, how do you know your water broke? this before. They ran the test. They did the test. They verified that it was amniotic fluid and said that, yes, you were having a baby. And I think with him, I was maybe 35 weeks. But he was a 5 pound, 6 ounce baby. He did not need to be in the NICU. So as far as mentally, I didn't have any type of like paranoia. I didn't have any type of real fear. I just wanted to make sure that my baby was going to be okay. I was okay. I just was nervous because I had never been through that situation before, and I wanted to make sure that my child wasn't. Because every picture and every video and every story I had ever heard about the NICU, you see the babies in the incubator and they got tubes up their nose and tubes, going everywhere and IVs going everywhere. And so I was afraid of that. But that's not the case that happened with that. So for both of them, I was able to take them home after 3 days in the hospital.
Right.
With my last one, I believe I was 32 weeks. The day before, we had just went to Georgia Aquarium, and I had walked the whole aquarium, and I had walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked, and I just kept having these cramps and this pain. And so I went to the doctor. I went to a doctor's appointment, and they checked me, and they said, you're starting to dilate. So they put me on bed rest for 2 weeks, but wanted me to come in every week. And then they said, no, we're going to send a nurse out to your house to check on you. So they sent a nurse out to the house to check on me. And she kept checking to see if I was dilating, and I continued to dilate. So they told me that I had to go back to the hospital because they needed medical intervention. Now that child wound up being an emergency C-section. Now that I was scared out of my mind. Scared out of my mind. They couldn't get the epidural right. They were stabbing me in my back. I was in so much pain, but I was more concerned about the well-being of my child. So at that point, I had the emergency C-section, but I had developed a fever and had gotten sick. So once he was born, I wasn't able to see him. They brought me a picture of him. They brought him to the NICU because he was only 4 pounds, 4 ounces, but he was able to breathe on his own. He could eat on his own. I was able to pump milk and have them the nurses give that to him. After my fever broke, then I was able to visit him in the NICU, and I was able to nurse him, and he stayed in the NICU for 10 days. So for 10 days, I would drive up to the hospital multiple times a day, and I would breastfeed my baby until he had gained enough weight to maintain his body weight, and was able to come home. But it was definitely traumatic because, but again, the doctor said just based on how you're built, all that, you're not built to carry children to a bigger size. So once they get to be a certain size in your uterus, you're going to start having labor and you're going to deliver early. Plus, I already had the pre-existing condition of endometriosis and fibroids, which was, and with the last one, I had a fibroid the whole time, and the fibroid like neck and neck with the placenta. So I had to, be monitoring that to make sure that the placenta wasn't growing into the fibroid and vice versa. Because I bled a lot during that pregnancy, but it was because of the fibroid that was growing near the placenta. So I mean, it was kind of traumatic, but mentally, I stayed strong. And whenever I didn't feel like something was right, or whenever I felt like something was wrong, I expressed that to the doctors, and I felt like they actually listened to what I was saying, and I felt like I did get good care at that point with those medical interventions.
So we have quite a bit of follow up in what you both have shared, right? So one of the things that you just said, Brenna, about breastfeeding, that is something that there's also polarity, disparity, and disproportionality, right? Because a lot of Black babies do not, and Black women don't experience that connection with their child.
Yeah.
As statistics have shown, it's hard for them to be able to do that. So that's one of the things I'm glad that you were able to experience that.
Yeah.
We push for that in my household. My wife was very adamant about making sure that we were going to breastfeed.
Yeah.
She was about the money. Hey, it saves. I'm like, but but we were on the same page with
I
that.
couldn't do it.
See, but that's actually and it's actually a health incentive, right? Because
I'm
it
very
boosts your immune
sensitive to
system.
pain.
Oh no, not you, Dominique. You know what? I'm so just for the sake of what we talking about, I ain't gonna do you like that because you know you say you got a low pain tolerance. I'm gonna take your word at it. You know, I ain't gonna tell you to be strong. I'm gonna tell you, if it hurt, just say something, okay? But another thing that Brenda touched on too is that a lot of Black women have some type of fibroids, right? Whether it be it's sister, I can't remember the systematic fibroids, and then it's the other one that she said, but it's some fibroids or some shape, form, or fashion, and I find that to be kind of like an eye opener.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think Mel had asked about was, and I think it was this is what he wanted from both of you, right? Me and KG talked about how the relationship was tested on our end because of the emotions that are involved. How did you all do? Because I mean, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. Brenna comes off real chill, and but I bet there was a whole nother side of you when you were pregnant. And then I already know how Dominique was. Dominique she wasn't playing about shit. It hurt. I'm telling you, and it just. But don't let me steal your thunder. Let me hear from you all.
Dominique, like she was a crybaby during pregnancy.
Look, let me tell
not
you the
even
story.
like me.
Let me tell you the story because on my last baby that I had, so I went to the hospital because my water broke.
Okay.
I was having really, really bad contractions on my way all the way to the hospital. When I got there, everybody took their sweet time. And I told them, give me the epidural. Go ahead and give me the epidural. Oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Baby, they lied to me.
Yeah.
I had to actually have that baby with no pain medication.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and I'm not tolerant of that type of pain.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a baby where, I didn't have some type of pain medication. Then after I start pushing and everything is when they want to stick something in my thigh. I was like, that is not doing nothing. I thought I was gonna die.
It wasn't that bad.
It
Here
was
you
that
go.
bad.
Here you
I
go.
got depression, anxiety, and I had a panic attack.
Well, with my first one, I dilated so fast. I asked for the epidural, but they were like, "There's no time. You have to push." So they gave me a shot of Demerol or something, but it wasn't an epidural, and it really didn't do anything for the pain. But it really like 3 pushes, and he was out. So by the time,
Damn.
And it didn't even hurt, right?
by the time the pain was pretty.
After they're out.
After he's out, the pain at that moment was gone because I was just so like in awe of this little person that I created, and I'm holding him and we're doing skin to skin, all of that. But then after like 30 minutes, I was like, ow, ow.
That adrenaline wore off.
It's the adrenaline and like the oxytocin and all the other stuff. Because like having a baby is so biologically, like having a baby is so traumatic towards a woman that your body constantly pumps good feeling hormones in you during your pregnancy, and it completely dumps the whole clip in you after the pregnancy. So you'll continue to create the race. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it.
Yep. So that was my situation there, and I think there was a question about the relationship. How did it impact?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that for all of my pregnancies, I did I had a good support system with my partner, with the fathers of my children. The stress that I was going through with the last 2 pregnancies, with them, saying that I needed to have, these progesterone injections and all this other stuff because of the endometriosis and the fibroid. I think they had an understanding of what it was doing to me. I myself felt like I did something wrong, and I was starting to have feelings of self doubt. I started to feel like I was a failure as a woman because why can't I carry a baby to term? What's wrong with me? What's the issue? And so I had a lot of anxiety and some depression, around that. And with the second one that was born, I definitely did experience some postpartum, after that. But, my son's father was very, very, very supportive, very encouraging. I was breastfeeding on demand all the time. So it's like if we're out and about, boop, I gotta pop it out. I gotta feed. Or if I would pump, then there would be milk that was left, that would be left for him to nurse to bottle feed the baby, but bottle feed him breast milk so I could at least like take a shower, so I could at least, do something around the house or, make a meal. But he was very good about like cooking for me and like getting me food and, helping out with the baby. And if the baby was fussy, he would calm him down and things like that. So I wasn't in it by myself. So I know that I'm very fortunate in that sense because a lot of women don't have that experience, especially when they're having a child on their own.
Yeah, we ain't like each other. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was very supportive. Like, he'll do chores and help me out and this, that, and the other. But I ain't like nobody
See, there it is.
when I
There
was
it is.
pregnant. So I'm just be real. Like, I was complicated. I was about to lose everything.
The two best things about pregnancy, right? And then all women don't go through this, but the very end of pregnancy, when they have the nesting phase, when they get all their energy and they're fucking cleaning up everything, that was awesome. I would wake up and there would be food in the whole house, and this has never happened before in my entire marriage. Like, and I would just be like, "This is what?" Like, she was like a superhero.
Yeah,
big old belly, baby hand pressing up against. She's about to pop, and she just had all the energy to do everything, like laundry, fold clothes, cleaning the bathtub. And I was just like, "Baby, you don't got to do all that. I help." No, I got to get the house ready. And she just all over the place, like cleaning stuff.
Do that when I'm mad.
Nah.
Make me mad.
That's
I'm gonna
terrible.
clean up, wash the dishes, and everything else.
Like house must be something. She done organized all the closets and folded all the clothes and reorganized the linen closet, folded the towels and the sheets and everything else. Brenda must be mad. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then pregnant sex is the best sex.
Yes,
it's absolutely amazing.
It is.
Wait, somebody call me a thug.
Look, so first of all, you so late to the comments anyway. So Melvin was saying he noticed your chest tattoo. I was trying to tell him you a whole thug out here. Then he said he liked chest tattoos.
You said because I got chest tattoos.
Yeah. Look, just take it and run with it. You all right? You good in the hood?
You good over here? Yeah, chest tattoos. That's good. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do.
So and then he said she looked like she got pics in a hoodie throwing up a hood somewhere.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
someone throwing up East Atlanta or North Side, one of them two.
Where you from? Buckhead, Bankhead? What you from? College Park.
Buckhead.
Oh, there! Look here.
I thought it was Bankhead.
No. Buckhead is another part.
Buckhead's another. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to look when you go out there. We're going to get you culture.
I've been to Atlanta a couple of times. It's changed. They changed the names of the areas from the last time I went. You know what I'm saying? So it's just different. I went when it was fun, when the Young Jock was out and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And we be hustling out here. It's still fun.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Atlanta closed too early.
It's like Black Hollywood
Atlanta
now. Like,
full of Atlanta. Hey, let me tell y'all. Atlanta
everybody think they better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm. I don't like the way she said that.
Y'all uppity Negroes. Y'all need to come down here to get some of the Southern hospitality.
Oh, he said he lived in Marietta for the summer.
Yeah. I don't like how she said they're full of hustlers. Like, wait a minute. Goddamn.
But yeah,
I'm finna have to go in my Atlanta real quick. Goddamn, motherfucking goddamn shit with the OG shit.
I had a question. I wanted to bring it back to the conversation we were talking about, the loss pregnancy loss.
Mhm.
How did that impact you, and what did you do to cope with those feelings? How did you manage that whole situation? A, losing a baby, and then B, having a pregnancy terminated without your prior knowledge.
That's your question.
With the so basically what happened was I'm not gonna give a timeline because that's not necessarily important. I don't need people to pinpoint when this happened, but I was with an individual and she had 2 kids already, and they were a little older, and we were usually very responsible when we were dating. Had a couple of nights just really heavy wine drinking, a little irresponsible. I don't feel like I didn't pull out. I don't feel like that happened, but things happen. She got pregnant. We went out to eat one day. We talked about it. um and at the time she was telling me she loved me and she wanted to make a family with me, and she wanted me to be there with her kids and me to be their father and all that stuff like that. So she gets pregnant and I'm thinking like, all right, cool, now we're gonna be like a blended family. And her sentiment was she doesn't feel like she wants to start over because she's already so far, so having another kid is just not something that she wants to do. I was a little confused because I was like, you just were telling me you love me, you want to start a family with me. So this is what starting a family looks like. And I didn't plan on having a baby, but for me personally, I have a lot of pride in who I am, not just because of the things that I'm capable of doing, but because of where I come from. Like my dad is an amazing man and his legacy is everything to him. So creating children to increase his legacy is my pride and my joy. So when someone says that they're going to have my child, I take that very seriously because that's adding on to something that's going to be here when I'm gone. Because I might you only really die when the people who love you forget about you, right? So it's like, especially when you make a child and you're impactful in a child's life, you'll never die as long as you live in their heart. So like that to me is like my most highest and most important role is to be a father, and for her to take that away from me, I'll never forgive her.
Damn.
He said he need that name.
Yeah, your cousin say we need that name.
Yeah.
Now run the timeline.
Yeah.
And what year and month you said this was?
Yeah, so I don't. I
I
mean,
think men should have a say so too.
well, we do have a say so, right? And my say so was I should have never laid down with her. At some point, I have to be accountable for the entire situation because if I don't go inside of her, none of
But
this ever
not just
happens.
you, like it's both parties.
Right.
No, I hear that, but
Because
like,
just like the man can protect himself, we can as well.
yeah,
Right.
but ultimately it falls back on me because in the law, the decisions are going to fall back on you. It's your body. You're going to be able to do what you want to do. Whether you can get up and leave, I can't kidnap you and I can't keep you there. But what I can do to protect my legacy and my lineage and my peace is not even engaged in that activity. So when I did procreate and make a child, I did it with a woman who I loved, and I
Right.
loved her infinitely. And so because I love my co-parent, my wife at the time, when we made that child it was made in love, so that child will forever be loved. So because that child was made in love, whenever I get an argument with her or I get to a point where I'm upset with my co-parent, I think about how I felt with her when I made that child.
Right.
So
That's good. That's
Okay.
good.
I'll always have her in my heart as in a special place because she is the mother of my one and only child that's alive, and it is what it is. So I'm going to always respect her and hold her in high esteem. And the reason why I will is because the love I have for her when we created that life.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I want to segue back to what she said about real quick about the decision or having to say so. I honestly feel like the best part of as a man, because it goes it's twofold, right? In one instance, we don't really have a say so because it's a woman's body. So if she chooses to have the baby, you ultimately are going to be responsible because they're going to hit you for child support. But on the other end of this spectrum, you honestly, I love the way that Mel said dick discretion, right?
Right.
When you decide that you want to have sex with somebody and you decide to go in there raw and shoot the club up or think you're gonna pull out because you done got hot and heavy. I mean, you know the consequences of even doing that. So when it comes to that, you gotta accept whatever consequences come with that. Now, if you and her ain't had that conversation, then again, and then that also goes into bad dick management too,
I
right?
get that, but there's some women out here too that they'll get pregnant by somebody, especially if he got some money or something, and
This
then
is
just
true.
boom, and they might not even want the baby,
Right. But again,
Well,
but
bad
then
dick management.
they getting paid.
Well, because for the most part in the perfect world, provisions come with the baby. So if a woman is seeking provisions, and like, to acquire those provisions, the not the easiest way, but the way of the least resistance will most likely be to attach herself to somebody who has lucrative finances and make a child. But I mean, that's not that's his fault.
Right. He didn't have to have sex with her. And that's why I said dick management, dick discretion. Because if you knew there was a chance that this woman could get pregnant, then you knew what the consequences of that was. And Roe versus Wade is in full effect.
Yeah,
So,
well, I see what you're saying, because men should be more accountable for that, because
exactly.
they already know what's going on.
Right.
Thank you.
And then if you get some head, then if you don't want to have no baby, you want just get some head, you'll be all right.
But you know how some women is about giving head though. So listen, even in 2024,
I
let's
believe
know,
I
going
give
back
it
to
every
Brenda's
time.
topic, guys, the women who are sacrificing their lives to give the gift of a new life should be top priority
Yeah.
and important, and very important, no matter what race, color, money, status she is. And in the US, like, as advanced that we are, is very sad to notice, because it happens more, the mortality happens more here.
Yeah, that's true.
So one of the things that me and my co-parent talked about when she was pregnant, we were getting towards that finish line. We were talking about
and you
birth
better
plan.
have that conversation. Yeah. Everybody gotta have that conversation. That's when you know y'all on the same team, bro.
Yeah. So it was like if it came down to me picking the baby or me picking her, she can't answer for herself. She was like, well, what and it wasn't like, what are you gonna pick? She was like, what are we gonna pick? Because we made this decision together. And I looked at the time, my wife, I looked my co-parent dead in the eye, and I was like, I'm choosing you, because like I don't know her, like I don't know my child, and while I do want to protect her, and when she's not here, but like I've got this many years with you, and I can create another life. I'm not willing to give up you as being the love of my life for a child I don't know. And that sounds very, very harsh, and I get that, but like she was my wife now, and then my child's 3. You asked me today, I would say I'm gonna pick my baby, but I don't think that because I love her. She's here and I see her and I run around with her and she's a smile. Another thing against my co-parent, I still love my co-parent. I hope she does well. But my kids, the way she smiles at me, it's hard to deny her anything, especially life. But when two people become one, that's like saying killing yourself.
Well, I know me and my wife had that conversation. We weren't married at the time.
Yeah.
During either pregnancies, we weren't. But the conversation always was, and this is one of the things that this is so perfect in the sense of what I'm about to say, and a lot of people, it'll make sense after I'm finished saying it, right? You don't really know unconditional love until you have a child being born, because you're going to love this child regardless of what they go out and do in this world, just because this child came from you. This child was a fruit of the labor of the result of love, or the result, depending on what kind of situation it was. But if you love that child, you, just as you do in life right now, once the child is here, you'd be willing to lay down and die for that child. And so me and my wife had that understanding. She was like, you don't have to, she made it, you don't have to choose me. I would die for my child right now. And so, and I understood that. I'm like, yeah, it'd be rough, but I agree with you. But if it was a way that I could do both, you damn well, I'm gonna try and choose both.
I'm gonna try to choose both. Yeah.
So,
but I was definitely going to choose 100% going to choose my wife at the time. I looked her dead in her face and was like, I don't want to raise, especially, and we didn't know what my daughter was going to look like. She looked like me though, so you know what I'm saying. It's all good. But I didn't want to raise a child that looked like her mother every day, knowing that she would never know her. That I couldn't. I didn't want to. I raised a child without her. I didn't want to do life without my co-parent. So it's like I just couldn't see that as an option.
yeah, it's difficult to raise a child, and as a man to raise a child if your significant other or the mother of their child was to like die on the hospital bed. That's
And it's hard now because shit, we're separated, and it's like just the working the dynamics of co-parenting and like and not just raising a child separately is its own thing. So it's like I couldn't even imagine if I didn't have the help that I have now. Like, and it's hard just with us not being in the same household. So it's like if she wasn't even there at all, that shit would be impossible. No.
So I have a question. So for people that are in relationships, whether they're dating, whether they're engaged, whether they're married or what have you, how involved do you feel the father of that child should be? Should that father be going to doctor's appointments? Should he be going to hospital visits? Should he be advocating for his woman when the aren't listening to her about her pain or her discomfort or feeling like something's wrong if she doesn't have the presence of having a doula or a midwife? Do you think that a man should step into, or should he just step to the side and let the doctors and nurses do their thing?
Man, they got me messed up because my baby was born during COVID, and every single doctor's appointment that I was allowed to go to, I was in there with my mask on front center, looking, asking questions.
I think men should do that. I mean,
Yeah,
just think, you just never know. It builds a family bond, and not only that, but you never know what may happen to the other person, and you may have to take over. It's very important.
yeah.
and
So I make sure that I keep mine involved.
Right.
and what I would say is, again, this goes back to the whole. If you shot the club up, you supposed to go attend the party after that. So I mean, I'm just saying, anything that's involved with this life has been created, you need to play a role in this. So that if you can't be at every appointment, as we understand, life happens, things happen, but you definitely should be there at the moments when it counts. Like I was at the birth for both of my children. I'm gonna say every child. It makes sense. Damn, wait a minute, hold on. I got more kids? Yeah. No. I was at the birth of both of my children. I attended as I think almost like every appointment for my son, and he was first. For my daughter, I may have missed one or two, but I was there. Because again, this goes back into the relationship building aspect of it. If you're really trying to maintain that connection and you're trying to be supportive emotionally and mentally, you have to attend these appointments with your partner. Y'all could have been beefing before, but look, got a full-blown argument the night before. I'm still gonna show up to the doctor's appointment. I'm gonna suck it up because it's not about me at this point. It's about this child.
Well, God getting all we deserve, but every man ain't involved with the woman like that either. Well, if they're not involved like that, that's a different, story, I guess. But
who said that? That must be a comment that you got.
No, God gave what I deserve is Melvin.
Oh, you talking about? My bad.
Yeah, I called the name on there, but
I'm like, she went to a quote.
They should be involved, and they're not. If they can't stand each other,
bingo,
that's different.
You shouldn't have your dick in it.
She should still be letting him know if there's something to be known at doctor's appointments and stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the grown-ups. It has everything to do with your child.
Right.
And see, that's what people don't know how to they don't know how to differentiate. Some people don't know how to differentiate.
Right. And again, King Kenji, shout out to King. He said, from on the other aspect of it, because hospitals are very fickle about this, right? You can be the father of the child, But if you and the mother are not together, she can put a whole lot of barriers in place to keep you from being on, being involved and have you on the outside looking in. They won't give you any information due to HIPAA. And until you sign that birth certificate, and then it can get real ugly if she don't want you to sign the birth certificate. So it's a lot of different things that could happen.
That's why I recommend that everybody have children in wedlock. Every man
But if
have
you
children in
don't,
wedlock.
this what men don't understand. If you don't show up to the birth,
Yes.
she don't have to put you on the birth certificate.
Yeah.
This is true, but when she go to filing the paternity,
it depends on
and
what
then-
state. Because like if you are married, then your default
no,
like,
that's
father.
That's any state. Once you're married, you're legally considered to be the father. If she stepped out on you and had a baby with the neighbor,
In Georgia, you got to get legitimized before you can sign the birth certificate.
well, shit, speak on Georgia, because I know right here in Texas and a whole lot of
You
other
have
states.
you have to be at the birth, y'all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of
Because you
course.
got to show ID 1st.
Mhm.
Okay, I done had 5 kids.
Yeah.
You got to show ID.
You had them all in Georgia.
And you got to sign the paper.
Yeah.
If you're not there, then you're right. You're not legit. It's not
Legitimized.
legit.
Yeah.
But they won't. Again, a lot of them, because think about it. Let's just set the stage, right? Mom and dad are not together. It's a very tumultuous and probably toxic relationship, and the dad is trying to do the responsible and admirable thing by stepping up, trying to identify as the father. And she's like, he's not allowed in here. I don't want him in here. And there's no way to go about him trying to do the right thing until he gets served with those papers. And then what happens is he gets served with the papers, go through the paternity and everything. And then he in turn gets served that child support once they find out he is the father. But now a lot of
But
women,
when you don't legitimize yourself by signing that paper and
You have no
being
rights.
there, you're gonna have a very hard time.
true.
You don't have any rights to the child. She can do
Period.
whatever
You don't
she
have no
wants.
And
rights.
that's what I'm saying.
You-
But if they prevent you from being there, like don't want you in the room, there's nothing. And the hospitals don't give 2 shits. Again, what they go, the child's name will be baby and whatever the mom's last name is, unless she says otherwise.
But if you're present and you're saying, I'm the dad, I'm signing the birth certificate, and you let them know,
Yeah, they can't pick. They can't supersede that. But you got to be in the room though. That's the thing, and she
Yeah,
can
you
keep
gotta-
you out of the
yeah.
room. And so, but that comes back to my first point. Like, I'm not putting my dick in you if I feel like you're gonna do that to me. I'm not.
And
I'm
just a side note, if it's only her name on that birth certificate, you ain't gonna take that baby.
No, you're not. Absolutely. And
Unless you can deem her an unfit mother.
right. And again, it's just like you have to be able to do something to be able to stake your claim. But they do not want to listen to you. It's baby, like Dominique last name Rivera. So it'd be baby Rivera out there until you can prove otherwise. So I mean,
Until the daddy claim it.
That's a disqualifier for me because even when me and my co-parent, she never changed her last name to Gill, but there was no way that my child wasn't going to be born with the last name Gill. That wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to be hyphenated or none of that shit. She's going to be a Gill.
But again, when
I was dating a girl and she said that if we had a kid, the name would be hyphenated, and I broke up with her.
Yeah, that'll do it right there.
My name means a lot to me. And if you're not willing to create a child with me and let that child take my name, we can't make a baby.
So King stated that he was there during the delivery. She almost died due to their son going into distress after the epidural.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is a very strong medicine, though.
I crashed after they did that, and then I spiked a fever.
Mhm.
Then the baby's heart rate dropped, and that's when they said we got to do an emergency C-section now. And so that was my experience. It went from monitoring to 10 different doctors rushing in and telling me that I had a fever and I was really, really sick, and that the baby was starting to decline and that they had to do an emergency C-section. And I don't remember anything other than them telling me that I had to have the C-section. And the next thing I knew, they told me that my baby was in NICU, and they showed me a picture. They held up a picture to my hospital bed, and I was like, I want to see him. I want to hold him. And they're like, you can't go to NICU because you have a fever. Once your fever breaks, then you can see your baby. So the only way I could see my baby was to have pictures, but I told my husband, I said, go with him, go with him. Don't worry about me. Go with him, go with him. Make sure that he's okay. And so that he went to the NICU and he stayed with our son.
When my co-parent was having her baby, and it like we had a black man doctor the entire time, and when she was walking around the house and her water never broke, but she was 10 centimeters dilated when we got to the hospital, so it was ready to have a baby. We couldn't even get in contact with our doctor, and so this white lady came in. She was like, okay, I'm going to deliver the baby. My wife was not comfortable. But I talked to the woman. She seemed super competent, super competent also. And so I was like, all right, definitely gonna do this. And so I was cracking jokes with everybody, loosening it up because it was a tense situation. I held her by her hand. I made her focus on her breathing. She pushed it out. No epidural or anything like that. All natural. Baby came out. It was good. Afterwards, my co-parent expressly said that she wanted to keep the placenta. She didn't want to do. She wanted to keep it, and so
she wasn't one of the ones wanting to eat the supply.
but like you're not finna monetize off my body. Say you're gonna throw it away, then you go harvest the stem cells and get them out there. Like, no, you're not finna do that. So if anybody gonna keep them, we are. So whenever they say, okay, you gotta put the placenta out, they ever put the placenta, they was bagging it up. She's out of it, right? So they're bagging it up, and on her birth plan, it says she was keeping the placenta. It says that they bag it up, try to walk out of there with it. I was like, hey, hold on 1 second. Like, where y'all going with that? Oh, this is his waist. I was like, no, that's the placenta. I know what the placenta look like. You pushed it out. I'm aware of that. Leave it right here. She said she wanted it. You don't get to keep that. And so they kind of stared at me, and the doctor was like, well, we're going to discard it. And I was like, no, we're going to keep it. And it's going to sit right here next to me.
Good for you.
And so they put it in the bag and they gave it to me.
That's being an advocate for what your partner's wishes were. So, kudos to you for doing that, because they sure would have just walked off with it and sent it right to the lab to go do studies off of it, extract stem cells. They sure would have.
Yeah, they say throw it away, but they don't.
Why do you want to keep it?
Well, we were gonna ground it up and put it in our rose bushes and stuff like that for like our plants, because it's like got a lot of nutrition. Look like the ground will break it down, but. Yeah, they had me fucked up. They thought they was going to just walk out of there with a piece of something that my baby grew.
Some people
like, no, sir.
Capsulated, and they take capsules or they put it in food, and it's supposed to help you lose the baby weight. It's also supposed to help support breastfeeding. It's got a lot of nutritional value, because you have to think that the placenta is what is supplying the nutrients to your baby during the time of gestation, mother in utero.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you during just I can't even say it.
Gestation.
And I must say this because I heard. Okay, so that's why it's important for you to have a good relationship with whoever is going to be the mother of your kids, because you want to be included.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people, sit here and dog a person out, and you just gotta understand, like.
And millennial Black fathers, congratulations!
Don't nobody want to be around that.
We are the highest rate participants for going to the doctor for our children since COVID to now. Statistics have shown that we show up to doctor's appointments and stuff like that, and 3 times more than any other person. So.
Yep.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Down for the active dads.
Breaking stereotypes.
Breaking these stereotypes.
Yeah. We not Gen Z.
Your cousin said you used it as gravy for a steak, the placenta.
That's crazy. No, look, literally up until I moved from Oklahoma, it was in our freezer the entire time.
Oh, God.
I think my baby was 2 years old before we did something with it. It was in the back of the freezer.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. In a red.
I don't think I would have wanted that.
Yeah.
It's whenever.
So
whenever my co-parent, it's not fun. It's kind of dark. Whenever my co-parent left me and she was leaving with my baby and stuff, I'm like, you gonna take this placenta too? Get out of my goddamn freezer. She left it.
I have a question for you. I noticed that you refer to your former
partner as a co-parent.
Co-parent. You always say, you refer to it as my co-parent. You don't say my ex. You rarely say my ex-wife. You say my co-parent. Is there a reason for that, or is that just something that you're more.
He got a good relationship with her.
Nah. So what we had somebody who was a rotating guest on the show, and that terminology came up, and it was one of those things he just adopted, and he just started. He said because it, and I don't want to steal his thunder again, but I'm giving a little context behind it. He can say it better than I can, but the reason why he did it is it was introduced. Now the other part of why it continues. What you? Oh, okay. Hold on, he got a call. So the other reason why he no, but really the way that it comes across is that because when you are referring to everything else has such a negative connotation, right? Ex-wife, ex-partner, baby mama, baby daddy. At least if you say my co-parent, it puts more of a positive spin on things with your relationship being in a more copious, harmonious situation. Now, what's your real reason why you use co-parent?
My apologies. That was the godfather of my child, and my best friend is pregnant. I thought they were about to have the baby right now, but he was calling me, and I'm sorry I answered the phone. But that's on topic. Black fathers being there for their pregnant wives. I call my co-parent because, like you said, Nina, who's my bestie, she gave me a paradigm shift because ex has a negative connotation, and so does baby mama, right?
Right.
So whenever you say, "Oh, my baby mama, my ex," is always in a bad thing, and I didn't want to have a bad relationship with the person who helped me create life, who I love so dearly. And like I do love my co-parent. I don't think she's a bad person. I think we just wasn't meant to be together in that way. I want the best for her, and I want everything for her to be awesome because that's gonna, her cup's gonna overflow and run over into my baby's cup. So
right.
I don't like to put negative things on her, so I won't say things that could be misconstrued as something negative. Co-parenting is something to aspire to. So as long as I lead with that, then that's a good thing,
Yeah. Speaking of what we calling people, I call my wife old lady. That's my old lady.
Oh yeah. Well, see me. That's another thing, right?
Why y'all call y'all wife old lady? I want to know that.
Yeah.
Because I'm her old man. I don't see the problem. See now, look. Here's one thing, like that. Women do not like. Some women hate this. Some women don't mind it. But like, they don't like me saying that my bitch.
Oh, whoa. Most black women do not like.
But I don't see the problem with that.
Let's just, I'm just telling you.
Like, if no one's I'm not calling you a bitch, but like you're my bitch. But like no one else can call you a bitch. Huh?
How old are you again?
I'm 38.
Yeah,
she gonna say at this big age.
No, because in my head, I'm like, that's my bitch. Like, what's wrong with that?
I can't do it.
Like, I'm not sitting there calling you my bitch did this, my bitch did that. Like, look, it's the colloquial term in which is used, right? Because I don't use bitches in negative connotation. You don't never hear me disrespectfully call anybody.
For her to say that's my dog.
I mean, at least I'm loyal.
Wow.
That's where the terminology comes from. When you say my bitch, it's because the most loyal animal in the animal kingdom is a female dog. That's why you say bitch, and that's why men are referred to as dogs. It just got a negative thing later on because it got a thing. But then y'all say it about y'all each other like, oh, that's my bitch, because that's your loyal partner, right? So why we can't say it,
right?
But that's just me personally. I get women don't like that unless sometimes they like me to call them that, but that's during extracurriculars. But like that's
I was about to say extracurriculars. But
yeah,
that's for.
Come on, Dom. Come on. How old are you again?
I ain't gonna say. I'm 29.
29 for the 8th year, huh?
I can call you what I want to call you as long as it's in the right circumstances.
Why I'm lying so much today? I'm sorry.
Brenda don't even look like you can call her a bitch. Like, what?
But it all depends on how you do it and when you say it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Whoa. We can't speed past that. Hold on. She paused and she said, yeah.
It's true. I see it all. I'm not gonna comment too much because that's crossing boundaries and you're a married woman. But like I know who I can get away with it with and who I couldn't, and this is how you do it.
I used to get away with it in college though, but it was
It's not an out
different.
public thing.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Would that be in the bedroom?
Yes.
Or out of the bedroom?
See, in the bedroom.
Yes, not
yeah, kind of, yeah, okay.
not in the not in the mall.
No.
That's extracurricular activity.
Not in front of the children.
What about if he in the club be like, you trying to talk to my
Well, that's different. That's different things because that's when you're staking like your claim.
Yeah, that is.
That's
Yeah.
different.
If you talking to a man, she might let it ride, but then have a conversation with you later on when you get in the car.
Yeah, because I mean, like if I have to interject in that moment, that is my bitch, and you being disrespectful. I have to let you know that this is mine, and I'll fight behind this.
I
This
don't.
is where
God getting all we deserve. I don't play good girl. I don't play good girl. I'm who I am. I mean, I'm a chill, I'm a relaxed person. I don't get hype unless I need to get hype. I don't get loud unless I need to get loud. I don't tell you about yourself unless I need to tell you about yourself. I'm just a kind, gentle person, but I don't play good girl. It's not like I have two sides. It's not good girl gone bad. So I'm gonna answer you on that one. I don't play good girl.
he said, you just reserved.
I got a bunch of sides.
Yeah, she chill, babe.
No, I just don't. I think I just did a lot in my teens and in my early 20s that as I've matured and become a mother and have lived, my life a certain way, I've realized that the way that I was acting and the way that I was conducting myself and carrying myself wasn't getting me anywhere. And arguing and fighting and doing all that like hood shit was, for no reason. So there was no reason for me to do that. So I do a lot of work on myself. And I pick my battles and I choose my battles. For the most part, I stay even keel. What you see is what you get. But if you get me riled up, oh yeah, she'll come out.
Yeah, you're a mature child. You're a mature tiger. You still got your stripes. You know what I'm saying?
Mature tiger.
You just in the jungle chilling. You know what I'm saying? Your stripes there. You certified out there in the street. You know what I'm saying? You get out there if you need to be, but
I can play good. I can play good girl. I can play bad girl.
Mm-hmm.
She just live and let live.
So, I guess one of the things I'll say, like to kind of tie everything together, you want to make sure that you properly vet and find the right person that you want to create a life with. When you do find that person, make sure that you are at every available doctor's visit and even read books. Like literature is super important for me. I learned so much about the female body during her pregnancy because it's like I needed to understand what was going on, because how am I going to help if I'm not in the loop of information?
Can you ring the bell for that one?
Yeah.
And
there you go.
People are so worried about like stuff about when the baby gets here. There's a lot of stuff going on when the baby doesn't get here. Like what you need to do for motion sickness, what food your wife can or girlfriend or whatever can and cannot have. She's gonna have cravings sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna have to tell her no because you can't have that. Like, what I'm saying?
Boy, but that argument behind it.
Yeah, they don't understand it. Jasmine wanted a cold cut one time, but you can't really have deli meat like that when you're pregnant.
And right now we learned, I learned that midwives are very important and
very much
be a very help to prevent premature labor, stress, and everything. So that means that if you have a partner and some people are not so fortunate to have a midwife.
Right.
Imagine what difference will you be making if you can become that very support system.
Yeah.
Support system.
Absolutely.
That is needed.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing like when I gripped hands with my co-parent, looked her dead in the eyes and was like, get this baby out here, let's go breathe. And she was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm holding her hand, she's squeezing my hand, I'm looking in her eyes, she pushing that baby out. I'm like, you got this. That was dope. That was dope as fuck to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's important. And if you're not with somebody who you don't think you can create a life with, or you don't think you want to be there for, or you don't think you can show up for, because you have to show up in every aspect, when they're in this delicate situation. Because like you said, the mortality rate is high and anything can happen. Just don't even engage in that. If it's not somebody you want to protect with your life, don't create one.
So
Absolutely.
I think so. I think, to sum it up, the statement of, why are more Black and brown women dying from childbirth? I think we've answered those questions. We know that there's, discrimination amongst hospital staff, doctors and nurses. We know that we get dismissed. We know that we're not listened to, but we also know that there's just certain situations where we just don't have access to the care.
but it's getting better. It's getting better because insurance companies are starting to accept the role of the midwives and the doulas, and so they actually are starting to pay for them. The other thing that they're starting to do is to ensure that everybody has more affordable health care, and a lot of that just comes from people, being knowledgeable about and it being accessible. Because some people, just because it's there, they don't necessarily mean that they'll go and get it.
Yeah, and they've even added lactation consultants or breastfeeding consultants to help new moms, as they navigate the very difficult and challenging path of breastfeeding. I didn't think that I was going to be able to do it either, Dominique, but I had a nurse who really, really, really helped me because I was on the phone, I was crying, I was asking my mom, and my mom was like, I don't know, I gave you a bottle, I didn't breastfeed you. And I was like, oh.
Damn.
Because I'm very sensitive to pain. And that's, to me, that was when I tried it, it was painful. So I was like,
Yeah.
You ain't tried the cream that you put on the nipple?
No.
No, it ain't.
No,
No,
I went.
It's
Oh, you talking about Brenda?
No. I'm talking about you because you was the one that had the pain. Oh,
When Chuck started teething a little bit and teeth
Teething
started
is-
cutting,
Yeah,
it was like,
yeah.
No, it was too
months
much.
after.
It was too much for me. And
You
like
probably
I
got
told
sensitive
y'all, I'm
nipples.
sensitive to pain.
Yeah. You're probably sensitive to pain, and you got sensitive nipples because when you're pregnant, you're lactating, and your nipples get
Yeah,
super
I can't
sensitive
do
anyway.
it.
Yeah,
I
get
don't like pain
Yeah.
at all.
at all. Not that pain.
If you can handle that, you can handle the other one. Damn it! Stop playing. But no, breastfeeding is actually it boosts the kid's immune system. It makes
And
their immune system,
intelligence.
huh?
And intelligence.
It's not the
intelligence,
same
absolutely.
kind of pain.
It's important for me.
Well, why couldn't you just get the breast pump then?
Because it's still pulling on a nipple.
It's still, you don't like.
It's a
Brenda,
little.
it
It's
hurt
different
you?
though. It's
It
a little
really
different.
does hurt.
And
then you got to get used to it. If you've never breastfed, like,
but then
you really have to have patience for that.
get used to it, and then once the baby latches on, then it gets into a more comfortable position, and the next thing you know, the baby's just feeding away, and you're able to have them in that little swing thing, and you can unload the dishwasher, you can do little errands around the house while the baby's feeding. But it took a to be able to get to that. But one of the reasons why it was so important for me to include and to incorporate breastfeeding into my plan was because of the health benefits of breastfeeding. It helps build their immune system. And because my kids were premature, I wanted them to have the best possible head start that they could. I didn't want them to be behind the 8 ball because they weren't breastfed.
Yeah, it does have a lot of benefits. Yeah, I agree with that.
Especially the Cambodian breast.
Wait, so King say, use your man to get used to the feeling, Dom. And Melvin say, bring them back. I can listen to them talk all day. Bro, they ain't even on our stuff. We on their stuff.
Yeah,
so,
he said
their
show we're shooting it on our channel. Yeah.
Look, you're talking about both of us shut up. Let them talk.
That's crazy. But yeah.
I'll just bring us on next time.
Yeah.
Man, I told y'all we Wednesday with it. I mean, I know it's the middle of the week, it's hump day and everything, but I mean, y'all more than welcome to jump on.
Yeah. We might do an event like this guy. You know, yeah. Which one of y'all ain't never been to Houston? One of y'all
Neither
said
one
that.
of them. Neither one of them.
Haven't.
That's crazy that neither one of you have ever been to Houston. I'm appalled.
I have been to Houston. I told you that. I rode
Well,
by
yeah,
Houston.
I said
She
one.
drove by.
I said one. I said it was one of them. I know it was
It ain't
one
the
of them.
same.
Yeah.
I drove by Houston. I know what Houston look like.
If you ain't, look here,
But you ain't let me show you what Houston look like.
bump all that. You can't say you ain't been. If you've been to Houston, if you have not been to French's Chicken,
Okay.
Shipley's Donuts,
Okay.
and Carrington's.
Yeah. Carrington's is wild. Like I can't see Brenda and Carrington's.
Yo, I can see Brenda and Carrington.
I cannot see Brenda and
I can
K-Rose.
see it.
I can see Dominique and K-Rose. I can't see Brenda and K-Rose.
And then get on one of them purple rains.
Nah.
Yeah,
That should be a problem. Brenda's more of a Breakfast Club person.
Breakfast Club. You gotta go to Breakfast
Should
Club.
go to Breakfast Club.
Yeah. So yeah, and then you gotta come to Trill Burger if they ain't if they still around because you know they're going through a lawsuit right
Best
now.
French fries I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Best French fries I've ever had in my life. I ain't even close. Best French fries.
And where you say I belong?
Next to me. What happened?
Damn.
Where you said I belong in Houston?
What do you mean?
In what place to eat? What he said?
Okay, yeah, I can see Brenda and Gold Diggers. I could.
That's crazy.
I can see
That's
that. I can see
crazy.
that. I can see that. Because of the conversation that we previously had. I can see Brenda and Gold Diggers.
I cannot see Brenda. Oh, I can't see Brenda and Gold
Yeah.
Diggers. I can't.
Y'all talk about this gold diggers. What?
Google Gold Diggers Houston.
I said Carol's is a club. It's not a food
Carol.
spot.
No.
That's what I'm talking about. What,
Yeah.
what is
Carol's
Carol's is a
is
club.
a no, it's not a club.
It is a club.
Carrington's, aka Carol's, is one of the oldest standing staples in Houston. It is a sports billiard club, hole in the wall. It's everything that you can envision as far as a place where Black people congregate on a Friday, Saturday night, sometimes on a Sunday. Yeah.
So I'm a hole in the wall.
No, and it's got
you're down to earth and you're fun, is what I was saying.
Look, it was the chest tattoo, damn it. That's what it was, okay? You'll fit right
Let
in.
her call
in.
Thug life today.
Yeah.
It's a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Dom and the Red Rooster too.
Now,
Now wait a minute.
now look,
Nah,
Dom ain't
so-
going in the Red Rooster.
I can't see her in Red Rooster, but
I
I can
can't
see
see
Brenda
it.
in there.
I can see Brenda in the Red
I can
Rooster.
see
What
Brenda
is
in the
Red
Red
Rooster?
Rooster.
What is
I
Red
can-
Rooster?
I
I'm
could
gonna
have-
Google all this
I
stuff,
could have seen
y'all.
Dom. I could have seen Dom in the grasshopper or the pink monkey though.
So Pink Monkey no longer exists. So this is wild that he would even say this,
And Coco Loco.
which no longer exists either.
And what's the other one?
I want to know about gold diggers. What about gold diggers?
You googling it? Are you googling it right now?
We should.
Diggers no justice is what the comments. So I want to
Oh,
know if Google
oh God.
Google, trust me, Google will get you there.
Google get you there. Put Houston Gold Diggers. It'll get you there. You'll find it.
We're gonna be texting about it. You're gonna be
You're gonna
dying
die
laughing.
laughing. I feel
If-
like Dominique will go to Prospect Park.
Both of them will be at Prospect.
I don't think Brenda be at
I
Prospect.
can see both of them at Prospect.
I see Brenna at like on Montrose and stuff doing all that. I think she'll be over there.
Maybe 50-15.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different spots, man. Look, I just say
I can see both of y'all at Ronin.
this one. You know what? That's when they should probably come out though. I
Oh,
think
for
that
the
would be
dating
dope.
show.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
me.
I'm
We
having
gonna
a
think of some places where y'all belong.
Right.
well,
In
so
Atlanta.
I'm putting on a dating show, right? So basically we're gonna have 6 women and we're gonna have 6 men, and we're gonna number them from 1 to 6. They're gonna come out and look at each other. They're going to rate each other physically, but no one's gonna say anything. Then they're gonna go behind a curtain and they're gonna be asked questions. We're gonna switch their numbers so they don't just pick the same number that they're attracted to. Then we're gonna ask them questions and they're gonna say what number they're the most attracted to from their responses. So we're gonna look at the physical number and the response number, and the people who are the most compatible. I'm going to pay for them for a date for up to $350, and they're going to come back on the show afterwards and tell us about the date.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
You want to be on it?
No.
Damn. That's cold.
Right.
You said it sound like fun. You don't want to be
That
on it.
does sound
No,
like
I
fun.
get it. I get it.
No,
You don't want
he
to miss
said
pressure.
he
I-
was doing the show anyway, right?
Yeah, I still need contestants, but I understand you don't want to be a part of the
He
contestants.
didn't say
because-
being part of the contestant pool.
No,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, look
Yeah,
at- look
okay,
at it.
Well, no,
yeah.
I know she don't want to be a part of the contestant because she would hate to lose the opportunity to go on a date with me. I get that. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I understand that.
Okay, yeah, I'll be on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see
Yeah,
how we
just
can work
send
it
Yeah,
me-
out.
we'll work it out.
We'll see how
We can't join y'all podcast with a link or anything. No.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we can.
yeah,
too.
we
can do that
can.
too. But there's also some room for y'all. We got chairs. So
I know. I saw the chairs that we could be sitting in if we get our asses out to Houston.
A chair is just a chair.
right. Look, we can even make it. We can even switch it and go the long ways that way. And put everything on that side and get a couch in here.
Oh, we're gonna
Fine.
remodeling.
Yeah.
I
He
just,
said bring them both to LM. I'll take them to HT's.
Oh,
Show
you know,
them West
So we're on
Side.
the west side.
that's crazy. Taking them to
Yeah.
HT's is crazy. But I wish that basis was still around. I'd take y'all to basis.
somebody about go
Lamar.
on
Oh,
Google.
what is HT?
I'm gonna Google it. I want to hear it.
You don't know Lamarck like that. So why would you even? You didn't even get that. You don't even get past Santa Fe. When the last time you been to Galveston? Right.
June. I was in Galveston in June.
For Juneteenth?
Nah, hell nah.
Oh.
My grandma's birthday.
Don't say hell no, like that's not where it started at. That's where it happened at. It literally happened in
It
Galveston.
literally happened in Galveston, but I mean,
Nigga,
they don't even really push it like
That's
that.
not
in
true.
Galveston.
They used to have a huge parade until it became a federal holiday. Then they stopped fucking with it.
Bingo. They don't really push it
Because
like
they took it away from the people who it belonged to. We're off topic.
that. Brenda, what you drinking?
Kool-Aid.
It ain't Kool-Aid. She drinking Irish Rose.
Irish Rose.
It's vodka, cranberry.
Oh, you drinking a Cape Cod? Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
What he laughing at?
Irish Rose is crazy. And you might as well say she was drinking Mad Dog.
Yeah, MD 2020. You know, hey.
Oh, those days are over. I can't do Mad Dog no more.
I love cranberry juice though, and all of its racially ambiguous children. You know.
We need to
What?
get some cranberry juice in our body.
Oh yeah, cranberry juice. Like you got cranberry, pomegranate, cranberry apple, cranberry grape, cranberry dragon fruit. I love all cranberry. Be busting it open for everybody. I love all the juices it produces.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's do this, ladies. We're gonna go ahead. We can shut it down tonight. But let's jump on the call after this and try and work out some other things. Because you know, folks got, I don't know what y'all got going on tomorrow, but you know, I know KG got a laundry list of stuff, so do I. But we could definitely when probably like in the next 15 minutes wrap up the rest of this conversation. So Brennan, if you call Dom and then y'all call me and KG. Well, y'all got, well, Brennan, you got both of our numbers. So just let's do a scan call real quick after this, and we'll try and move some other things around and make this work.
All right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Y'all for joining us tonight. Glad that we got to discuss this topic. More Black and brown women dying during childbirth and the impact that it has on the family, how it also impacts the fathers, changes and things that we need to do. Most importantly, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to have people that advocate for you, and stand up to that doctor and stand up to that nurse and say, oh, no, you're not turning us away. You're not sending us away. There is something wrong. I do need to be seen now. And that's using your voice. And I think previously I was always worried about offending somebody or making somebody feel bad, that I always wound up taking the brunt of it myself. So I thought, oh, well, he's a doctor. He knows what he's talking about. So I guess maybe I am wrong, and had me questioning myself. And never again will I do that. I will never relinquish my power onto somebody else trying to convince me that I'm the one that's in the wrong, just because you went to school for 10 years and you have a degree behind it when you made a mistake.
Right.
Several mistakes. So I appreciate the input from the male perspective and what you've experienced and what you've gone through. And I think it was a good, conversation to have. And people need to know that when you're bringing a child into this world, it's very important. I like what you said about, children should be born into this world. They should be born in wedlock. But that's not always the case. We know that that's not always the case. And we know that that's probably not necessarily where the future is headed, with all this IVF and people using surrogates and all these different of having children. It's gotten to a point where women don't need a man, and for the women that have surrogates and do IVF and things like that by themselves, they don't put a man's name down on the child's birth certificate, because it was a sperm donor that likes to remain anonymous. But my question is, and this will be for another topic for another conversation, what do you do when that child turns 18 and asks for their birth certificate so that they can go out to a job and there's nobody listed under father?
Great setup for another one. Yeah, that's a good one.
So we'll pick that one up on another episode. And thanks again, you guys, for joining. We will see you on the next go around, and maybe we'll link up on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.